Hi, I'm Helana Alexander, and I'm going to be performing my original informative Avengers Assemble for Cabot tournament. I love Marvel movies, and over the past couple of months, I've been watching a lot of them, the best being Captain America. My favorite character from Captain America is surprisingly not the hunky Steve Rogers, but his kick-butt love interest, Peggy Carter. Although she is painted as the damsel in this story, she breaks that stereotype many times, saving herself and Captain America in the process. So imagine my excitement when I found out that Peggy Carter is actually based off of all the amazing British women of the Special Operations Executive, or SOE, a beneficial and progressive spy organization from World War II. So first, let's meet the scrawny Steve Rogers before his superhero days and talk about what the SOE was and how SOE agents were trained. Next, we'll see Captain America in action for the first time and talk about how the SOE changed the role of women in war. Finally, we'll see Captain America reign victorious and talk about how the SOE has impacted war, technology, and culture today as the SOE Avengers assemble. So first, let's meet the scrawny Steve Rogers before his superhero days and talk about what the SOE was and how SOE agents were trained. Let's set the scene. It's the beginning of the war against Hitler, 1940, and Britain has just signed an armistice again with France to fight against Germany. Winston Churchill has the idea to set Europe ablaze and is planned to do this supporting the UK's resistance movements through the formation of Churchill's Secret Army, or as he was later be known as the Special Operations Executive, or SOE. The spy organization's goal was to shield Britain throughout World War II through the use of irregular warfare tactics, such as sabotage, small arms, radio and telegraph communication, and unarmed combat, according to the article Female Spies of the SOE from HistoricUK.com. Another very important goal of the SOE was to train agents to have cover stories so that they couldn't be spotted in enemy territories. According to the article Espionage in the SOE, many agents lived a double life, using their established positions in adopted countries to perform illegal and dangerous activities under the nose of the enemy. But all this espionage took training. The training the SOE agents were given was harsh and grueling, but also very secretive. Like, Bucky Barnes is actually the Winter Soldier kind of secretive, or Captain America was actually frozen in ice for 70 years kind of secretive. The training the SOE agents were given was divided into 3 parts. The first part was called preliminary school, where agents were given little to no knowledge about what the SOE was and were judged based solely on their character and potential of becoming an agent. If they did not pass this round of judgment, they would be sent to a cooler, where they would be asked to forget the little to no information they knew about the SOE. If they did pass this round of training, however, they would be moved on to paramilitary schools across secret locations in Scotland, where the terrain was rough and training lasted 3 to 4 weeks. This is where the field work actually began. Agents learned things such as map reading, compass work, elementary Morse, and raid tactics, according to the article Training SOE Saboteurs from World War II from the BBC. If you did not opt out or get kicked out of the SOE at this point, you would be moved on to finishing school, where you would learn one of the most tactical skills of becoming an agent, how to parachute, a tactical skill they would be used to deploy agents into all of their missions. Finally, agents would be given a final briefing and would be sent into the field with their team. So now that we have learned about what the SOE was and how SOE agents were trained, we can see how the SOE changed the role of women in war. The SOE's one of their main goals was to perfect agents' cover stories so that they could infiltrate enemy territories. And to do this, they employed women because they were seen as less of a threat to the enemy because of the status of women in society at the time. The women of the SOE impacted the SOE way more than any of the men did. Just like Peggy Carter impacted S.H.I.E.L.D. way more than Captain America ever did. Examples of agents like these are seen through agents of Noor Inayat Khan and Christine Granville of the spy organization. Christine Granville was one of the most important agents of the SOE. Among her work identifying German troop emplacements and meeting with Polish underground leaders, she also saved her section chief, Francis Kamertz, hours before the rest of her group was murdered. According to the book, The Spy Who Loved, The Secrets and Life of Christine Granville, one of her most important quotes about her work at the SOE says, "Maybe you should find out I saved people from prisons and camps in Germany. I should love to do it, and I love to jump out to the plane even every day," which is found in the novel The Spy Who Loved, The Secrets and Life of Christine Granville. Another very impactful agent of the SOE was Noor Inyan Khan. Although she was an unlikely agent because she was a reputedly bad liar, she remained at large for months, the only active radio operator in the Paris area after all of her friends were captured, according to the article Women Spies of the SOE from the Paris Review. To avoid the fate of her friends, she would move safe houses almost every day, carrying her 60-pound wireless suitcase radio everywhere she went to avoid capture for nearly 3 years. Women like these would go on to impact the role of women in militaries all across the world and change the way women are viewed in society today. So finally, we'll see Captain America reign victorious and talk about how the SOE impacted war, technology, and culture today. Some of the most influential pieces of technology were created for the SOE. One of the most important jobs of the SOE was radio and telegraph communication, and for this important task, one of the most important pieces of technology was created, the MK2 suitcase radio. The MK2 suitcase radio was designed by John Brown at SOE and created in 1942 by the Radio Communications Department of the SOE. According to the article Type 3 MK2 Suitcase Radio from CryptoMuseum.com. Another very important piece of technology that was created by the SOE was the gas gun. Disguised as a fountain pen, it would shot a bullet and later tear gas to help agents get out of sticky situations. So finally, we'll see how the SOE has impacted the culture today through characters, movies, comics, and books. So, as we've seen throughout this speech, one of my favorite characters to be influenced by the SOE is Agent Peggy Carter in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Marvel comic universes. It is seen in an early comic of Captain America that she joined the SOE after her brother died in the war. This would later lead her to become one of the founding members of S.H.I.E.L.D., a fictional spy organization inspired by the SOE and other spy organizations of the time. Another very important character to be influenced by the SOE is 007 himself, James Bond. James Bond, the original James Bond novels were actually written by former SOE spy Ian Fleming. Ian Fleming's knowledge about spy weapons and war led him to write his captivating books. These books would later be turned into one of the longest movie series in history with devoted fans across the world. So finally, we have seen Captain America in action for the first time and talked about what the SOE was and how SOE agents were trained. We have seen Captain America in action for the first time and talk about how the SOE changed the role of women in war. Finally, we have seen Captain America reign victorious, or seemingly so, and seen how the SOE impacted war, technology, and culture today. So the next time you sit down to watch your favorite Marvel movie and you see all those amazing heroes on screen, maybe you'll think of the amazing heroes of the SOE and how these SOE Avengers assembled. Thank you.